I wanted to talk to you a little bit about why you need a new edge board, and I'd like to prove it to you tonight in this video. First of all, we want to talk about bogus accounting and the edge scorecard. That's what we'll talk about a little bit in depth here in a moment. Next thing I want to talk to you about is below peer average percentage total wage growth. That's about $47 million worth of deficient Memphis-Shelby County tax revenue. Next, I'd like to talk to you about botched workforce development. This was in the Memphis Business Journal. And you don't have any data, aggregated data, to define in-demand skills or supply-demand data for programs needed or anything like that, so you don't have any aggregated data. You don't have a research-based plan. You don't have an identified job board. You don't have an occupational assessment identified that you're promoting. You have one identified, but you're not promoting it. Let's see what else. No curriculum. So it's just a disconnected system. And also, we've done everything but try to work with small business. Everything but send it off to Canada, send it off to Washington, D.C., whatever. But anything but small business, which leads me to our next point, which is small business vitality. When the EDGE retention pilot started here back in 2012, small business vitality plummeted. Now here's the thing. In Memphis, they support programs that are supposed to support small business, but they don't support small business. There's no support for small business here. We're last in the country of 106 metros. Now, I thought they would turn the chamber upside down when this happened, but really nothing much happened when that happened back in 2017. So those are the reasons, and this is not totally the EDGE's fault here. This is a cultural norm from the top. This comes from Memphis Tomorrow. This is in the Memphis Tomorrow complex. It comes down from the top. And from the top, there's just not a support for small business. And what ends up happening here is people either leave the city, and you get population loss, or they fall into poverty. So that's what happens. So that's what that's about. So what I want to talk to you about is this bogus accounting that's going on, and there's various ways to, different pilots require different types of analysis. And what I want to talk to you a little bit today about is this retention pilot accounting, which the EDGE scorecard is not accounting for. And so what they do with retention pilots, what they don't account for, and I'm going to show you these blocks right here, is they don't account for, so you have an existing company that's already here. And I might be a little bit out of the picture. But you have an existing company that is already here. So the people are here and everything. And they give them a tax abatement. So they're abating existing taxes against existing jobs. What they don't account for in the EDGE scorecard is some probability that an existing company will stay without a retention pilot. A good example would be Valero. They gave Valero a $25 million tax break, and Valero is going absolutely nowhere. They assumed in this accounting that there was a 100% probability that Valero would leave if they didn't get a retention pilot. That's just one of several examples. So that's one thing. So no probability that a company will stay without a retention pilot, which it would cost a company 3 to 10 times X to move out of the city, so the disruption is huge with relocation. Next, they didn't account for the economic impact of the remaining workforce should a company depart. If a company leaves here, they're going to take about 30% of the workforce, and the 70% is going to stay. So a portion of those people are going to be impacted, but many of them are going to go to school and continue to pay taxes here, or start their own business, or work remotely, or get a new job, or even retire and still remain part of the tax base. So that was not accounted for. And finally, the lost economic impact of just investing in the community. So there's an economic impact to investing in the community in things like public safety, site readiness so that they can have sites to recruit companies to use here in Memphis, workforce development, public transit, roads, all those types of things, small business, all those types of things are needed. And so they didn't account for any of those things. What it ends up resulting in is about a $850 million overstatement, a $250 million tax loss while it's recognized as a $600 million gain. This has been going on for 7 years. And so this is another reason you need, and probably the primary reason you need a new Edge board, because they've been using incomplete accounting to justify excessive corporate real estate pilots as small business vitality tanks, and all these things we need for economic development go unaddressed. And in the Edge ad hoc committee work, they basically found out that the main thing we were doing was doing incentives, but we weren't addressing workforce, we weren't addressing small business, we weren't addressing roads, we weren't addressing site availability, all these things that really make a difference. Now, another thing that occurs in this Edge accounting is this is commercial taxes, commercial real estate taxes, sales taxes that workers pay when they go to the store and things that live here in Memphis, and also residential property taxes where the workers live. What Edge does when they account for this is they give the corporation a tax break for their building, and all this existing tax revenue, what they do with it is just drag it right over here and call it new revenue. And so that's the type of thing that's going on, and that results in excessive tax abatements that undermine the tax base, for the things we need. Now, the way you retain companies is not really through tax abatements. It's going to be through good workforce. It's going to be through roads. It's going to be through good public transit. The Amazon roadmap is what I'm talking about. Recruitment is going to be enabled by site availability. But just the things that build a good community is what retains companies. It's not tax abatements. And you're going to lose some companies too. Now, you might lose a couple of companies because you don't offer a retention pilot. But the thing is that, and you're going to lose companies anyway because they're going to relocate geographically. They might find another place that's more geographically suited for their business, such as, Las Vegas for a company, or somewhere in the Midwest that's closer to the agriculture area. So just like people come here for water resources, like we gave Soleil DuPont a tax abatement, they're already saving $1 million by operating here using our high quality water resources. So anyway, so I just want to let you know what the reasons that I believe that we should get a new Edge board: below peer average total wage growth, bogus accounting, botched workforce development, and they're a part of the very struggling small business vitality. So hope this helps. Thanks.